The forest was peaceful. The sun peeked over the trees. Golden light touched the leaves. Birds sang sweet songs. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves. It carried the scent of wildflowers. The air was cool and fresh. It was a beautiful morning. A river flowed through the forest. It sparkled in the sunlight. The water flowed over smooth stones. It made a soothing sound. The forest was waking up. It was a new day. It was a day for joy. It was a day for peace. Ellie the elephant slept beside the river. She was big and grey. She had long, graceful tusks. She was a gentle giant. Ellie woke up slowly. She stretched her trunk. She yawned a big yawn. She was happy to start a new day. Ellie loved the forest. It was her home. She loved the trees and the flowers. She loved the birds and the butterflies. Ellie went to the river. She took a long drink of water. It was cool and refreshing. She was ready for her morning walk. Ellie walked slowly through the forest. She enjoyed the peace and quiet. She listened to the birds singing. She watched the butterflies flutter. The forest was full of color. Bright flowers bloomed everywhere. They were red, yellow, and blue. They smelled sweet and fragrant. Ellie saw a group of monkeys playing in the trees. They were chattering and laughing. Ellie smiled. She loved to watch the monkeys play. Ellie continued her walk. She felt happy and content. The forest was a wonderful place to be. It was full of life and joy. Deep in the forest, under a Bodhi tree, sat the Buddha. The forest was a sanctuary, a place where time seemed to stand still. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the soft rustle of leaves. The Bodhi tree, with its wide sheltering branches, stood as a silent guardian over the meditating figure. He was meditating. His eyes were closed and his face bore a serene expression. It was as if he was in a deep communion with the universe, drawing in the energy of the earth and the sky. His breath was slow and steady, a rhythm that matched the heartbeat of the forest around him. His face was peaceful. The Bodhi tree was old and wise, its thick bark telling stories of centuries gone by. The tree had witnessed countless seasons, each one adding to its wisdom and strength. It was a living testament to the passage of time and the endurance of nature. Its branches spread out like sheltering arms. Its leaves whispered in the breeze, creating a symphony of nature's music. The gentle rustling was a soothing lullaby, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all life. Each leaf, each branch played its part in the grand orchestra of the forest. It was a sacred tree. The forest around the Buddha was very still, as if in reverence of the meditative state. The stillness was profound, a deep silence that spoke volumes. It was a silence that allowed for introspection, for a deeper understanding of oneself and the universe. The animals were quiet. Even the leaves seemed to hold their breath, as if they too were part of this sacred moment. The forest was alive, yet it was in a state of perfect harmony. Every creature, every plant seemed to be in tune with the Buddha's presence. A sense of deep peace filled the air. The Buddha's presence calmed the forest, creating an atmosphere of tranquility. It was a peace that went beyond the physical, touching the very soul of the forest. It was a reminder of the power of inner calm and the impact it can have on the world around us. It was a presence of love and compassion. It was a presence of wisdom and understanding. The Buddha's meditation was not just for himself, but for all beings. It was a practice of universal love, a beacon of hope and enlightenment. The forest, in its stillness, became a part of this sacred practice, a witness to the profound connection between man and nature. Ellie walked until she reached the Bodhi tree. The forest was quiet, with only the soft rustling of leaves and the distant calls of birds breaking the silence. The air was cool and filled with the scent of earth and greenery. Ellie felt a sense of anticipation as she approached the ancient tree, its massive trunk and sprawling branches providing a canopy of shade. She saw the Buddha meditating. His posture was serene, his eyes closed in deep concentration. The Buddha's presence exuded a calm and peaceful energy that seemed to envelop the entire area. Ellie had heard stories of the Buddha's wisdom and compassion, but seeing him in person was a profoundly moving experience. She stopped and looked at him with big, curious eyes. Her heart was filled with wonder and respect. She had never seen anyone so still, so completely at peace. The Buddha's gentle breathing was the only movement, a rhythmic rise and fall that seemed to harmonize with the natural world around them. Ellie had never seen anyone meditate before. She was fascinated by the stillness and the sense of inner calm that radiated from the Buddha. It was as if he was connected to something much greater than himself, something timeless and infinite. She didn't want to disturb the peace. She stood very still. The forest seemed to hold its breath, as if acknowledging the sacredness of the moment. Ellie felt a deep sense of reverence and awe. She knew she was in the presence of something truly extraordinary. She watched the Buddha breathe. Each breath was a testament to his deep connection with the universe. Ellie felt as if she was witnessing a sacred ritual, a dance of life and stillness that transcended the ordinary. Ellie felt a sense of calm wash over her. The worries and fears that had plagued her seemed to melt away in the presence of the Buddha. She felt a profound sense of peace and tranquility, as if she had found a sanctuary in the midst of the forest. She felt safe and peaceful. The Buddha's presence was like a soothing balm, healing the wounds of her heart and mind. Ellie knew that she had found a place of refuge, a place where she could find solace and strength. She wanted to stay near the Buddha. She felt drawn to his wisdom and compassion, to the sense of serenity that surrounded him. Ellie knew that she could learn much from the Buddha, that his teachings could guide her on her journey. She took a quiet step closer. She moved with great care, not wanting to disturb the sacred space. Each step brought her closer to the Buddha, closer to the source of the peace and wisdom she sought. Ellie gently placed her trunk on the ground. She bowed her head. It was a gesture of deep respect and reverence, a silent acknowledgement of the Buddha's greatness. Ellie felt a deep connection to the Buddha, a bond that transcended words and actions. She showed her respect for the Buddha. She knew that he was a being of great wisdom and compassion, a guide who could help her navigate the challenges of life. Ellie felt a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to be in his presence. She knew he was a special being. The Buddha's presence was a beacon of light in the darkness, a source of hope and inspiration. Ellie felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. She knew that she had found a path to follow, a path that would lead her to greater understanding and peace. Ellie wanted to show her gratitude. She saw a beautiful fruit on a nearby branch. It was ripe and juicy, the perfect gift. Ellie carefully reached up with her trunk and plucked the fruit from the branch, making sure not to hurt the tree. She was very gentle. Ellie offered the fruit to the Buddha, holding it out to him with her trunk. Her eyes were soft and kind, hoping he would accept her gift. The Buddha opened his eyes slowly, looking at Ellie with warmth and kindness. He smiled gently and accepted the fruit with gratitude. Ellie was happy. The Buddha had accepted her gift. She sat down quietly beside him, feeling a deep sense of peace. The Buddha began to meditate again, and Ellie closed her eyes too. She tried to breathe like the Buddha, feeling calm and still. They sat together in silence. The forest was quiet around them. The only sound was the gentle breeze and the singing birds. Ellie felt a connection with the Buddha, a connection of peace and understanding, of love and compassion. A beautiful butterfly fluttered by. It was bright blue and orange, landing softly on Ellie's trunk. Ellie watched it with wonder. The Buddha smiled and reached out, gently stroking the butterfly's wing. The butterfly fluttered its wings and then flew up into the tree. Ellie and the Buddha looked at each other and both smiled. It was a moment of shared joy, a moment of pure happiness. The butterfly seemed like a sign of peace and beauty, a sign that all beings are connected. The sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. The colors blended seamlessly, creating a masterpiece that only nature could craft. The horizon seemed to stretch infinitely, a canvas of serenity and beauty. As the day transitioned into night, the air grew cooler, and the sounds of the evening began to emerge. Crickets started their nightly symphony, and the gentle rustling of leaves added a soothing background melody. The world seemed to pause, taking a collective breath in awe of the magnificent sunset. It was time for Ellie to go. She had to return to her herd. The journey ahead was long, but she felt a sense of purpose and direction. Each step she took was deliberate, her large feet making soft imprints in the earth. The path was familiar, yet it felt different this time. The lessons she had learned from the Buddha echoed in her mind, guiding her way. She knew that her herd would be waiting for her, and she was eager to share her newfound wisdom with them. Ellie stood up slowly and bowed her head to the Buddha one last time. This gesture was not just a farewell, but a deep expression of respect and gratitude. The Buddha had imparted invaluable lessons, and Ellie felt a profound connection to the teachings. As she bowed, she felt a wave of peace wash over her, a sense of fulfillment that she had never experienced before. The statue of the Buddha seemed to glow in the fading light, a silent witness to her transformation. She was grateful for their time together and had learned so much. The teachings of compassion, mindfulness, and inner peace resonated deeply within her. Ellie reflected on the moments they had shared, each one a precious gem in the tapestry of her life. She realized that these lessons were not just for her, but for her entire herd. She felt a responsibility to carry this wisdom forward, to be a beacon of light and understanding for those around her. Ellie turned and walked away, feeling different. There was a lightness in her step, a newfound clarity in her mind. The world around her seemed more vibrant, the colors more vivid, the sounds more harmonious. She felt a deep connection to the earth beneath her feet, to the sky above, and to all the creatures that shared this beautiful world. Each step was a meditation, a reminder of the lessons she had learned and the journey she had undertaken. She felt calmer and more peaceful, carrying the Buddha's wisdom in her heart. The teachings had become a part of her, woven into the very fabric of her being. She knew that challenges would come, but she felt equipped to face them with grace and understanding. The peace she felt was not just a fleeting emotion, but a deep, abiding presence that would guide her through the days to come. She felt a sense of empowerment, knowing that she had the tools to navigate life's complexities. Ellie looked up at the sunset. It was beautiful. The sky was a symphony of colors, each hue telling a story of the day's journey. The sun, now a glowing orb on the horizon, seemed to wink at her, as if acknowledging her transformation. She felt a deep connection to the universe, a sense of belonging that transcended time and space. The beauty of the sunset was a reminder of the impermanence of life and the importance of cherishing each moment. She felt a deep sense of gratitude, knowing she would never forget her day with the Buddha. The lessons, the peace, the beauty of the sunset, all of it was etched into her memory. She knew that this day would be a cornerstone in her life, a source of strength and inspiration. As she continued her journey, she carried with her the essence of the Buddha's teachings, a guiding light in the twilight of her life. Ellie felt ready to face the future with a heart full of gratitude and a spirit imbued with wisdom.